Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Himanda Prabhu. Thank you for all the nice comments. It's all because of my spiritual master, His Holiness Bhakti Swami, that just have the opportunity to serve. So thank you so much. Today we will talk about the power of determination. Before we start, we'll do the prayers. So we can play Vedanta, please. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Radha Radha Madhava ki. Om Ajnaniti Mirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavascha Shri Rupam Sagadatam Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Paijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Param Sagam Kakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishwanu Sudevi Pranamami Hariti Vanchakalpatarundasya Kipasindhu Verevacha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shri Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. How's everyone doing? Hare Krishna. So today we will be talking about the power of determination in Krishna consciousness. So it's very important, whether we are first timer or we are seasoned devotee, determination in Krishna consciousness is very important. Without that, we cannot go very far. So, in order to talk about the power of determination, we'll be talking the 3 Ds for spiritual progress. So, what are the 3 Ds that is important when we talk about spiritual growth? So, can you read? Is it okay? It's a bit small. So, the 3 keys for spiritual success. Number 1 is discrimination, right? Number 2 is determination, and the third one is discipline. So those are the 3 Ds. So we'll be talking about this. We're not talking about the 3D movie, but the 3D of the spiritual growth. So what is discrimination? Discrimination means it's the foundation of determination. Discrimination means to be able to understand what is harmful to us and what is beneficial. Before we are able to have determination to do something, we have to know what is good and what is not good. Until and unless we understand that, it's very difficult to be consistent, to be determined, to be always focused. And so when it comes to discrimination, we need to know what's beneficial for our Krishna consciousness, to do all the Krishna conscious activities, and what is not. And those are, what is dragging us down, Maya, what is pulling us away from Krishna consciousness. Once we understand that, then we can make positive choices. We can choose, we want to go this direction, and then we can go full force into that direction. So it's very important to do some self-introspection and to think where we are and where we are going. Discrimination is like a vision where you have to go. You have that vision, because without the vision you won't know where to go, right? So it's very important to be able to discriminate. Okay, so we will come back to in more details. The second one, and to this topic, is determination. Determination means being resolute in pursuing spiritual goals despite obstacles. In our journey, the Krishna conscious journey is it's a lifestyle that you decide to live a certain way. Put Krishna in the center and do all your activities. And in that journey, there are ups and downs. It's not always, everything is working fine, there's ups and downs. Sometimes you have highs, sometimes you have lows, but we have to understand what pulls us down and what brings us forward, so that we can consistently keep moving forward. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon, it's a long journey. Right? So every day we have to do what we have to do to keep going forward. Right? So that's determination. We will cover that in very much detail, and I'll take some examples. And then the third one, last but not least, is discipline. Discipline means once we know what is right, once we are firm and focus on doing that, how do we put it in action? All the things that we need to do to put that in action. So living a regulated life, and building healthy habits, because this is what will allow us to keep moving forward. And we will talk about why it's important to focus on one thing at a time, because that will regulate how we look at things and how we focus on things. So we'll talk about that. Okay? So let's go back to discrimination. We said discrimination refers to the ability to discern what actions or choices are beneficial or detrimental, both immediately and in the long term, and to recognize the difference between beneficial and harmful outcomes. So I'll take an example here on what I mean by short-term gain versus long-term benefit. Imagine there's, if I show a child here a chocolate in my left hand and $100 note on the other hand. What would he choose? Chocolate, right? But if I show you the same thing, what would you choose? The $100, because you can get other chocolates with it, right? So like that, our intelligence is like the intelligence of a child. We often look at the short-term benefits, short-term gains, versus the long-term benefits. And so in the Shastra, there's a difference between what we call Asura versus the Devatas, or simple person. Asura consists of two words here. I mean, Asu means instant, and Ra is to enjoy. So, Asura mentality, more than the same demon, but demoniac mentality means instant gratification, or looking for sense enjoyment quickly. Versus the saintly mentality is one who can restrain his mind and senses. So that person knows that something is not right for me, even though I might restrain from it, but it's good for me in the long term. In the short term, maybe a little bit of pain is there, but in the long term, it would be good for me. Right? So we should always think about what we're doing. Is this good for me in only the short term? What would be the benefit in the long term? And what is the much bigger goal? All of you know, you probably have one, a t-shirt that has Nike on it. And what's the logo? What's the slogan? Just do it. So that's the mentality, right? Just don't think. Just, you want to do something, you want to eat something, just go and eat it. You want to go somewhere, just go and do it, right? So that's the mentality of instant gratification, just do it. On the opposite, there's another slogan that says, look before you leap, right? So that's important, right? Because if we don't know where we're going, like that tunnel, we know that which direction we're going. You might be walking, you're just doing things, and then you fall into a hole, and then you say, oh, I should have looked before I get into that hole, right? So that's why it's very important to discriminate, because discrimination in discrimination I'm talking from a spiritual sense. I'm not talking about discrimination how we know in the material world. Don't go and say, and we say discriminate to everybody. No, but discrimination in a spiritual context. I mean, we have to know what is right from what's wrong. There was a story of a rat who's walking around, and then there's a trap, and then somebody put a cheese in the trap, right? So the rat says, "What a fool! If you get some cheese there, we go and get it." Rat goes into the trap, and what happens? So who's the fool? so the real fool. So you see how if we do things mechanically, if we just go with the flow, but we don't know where we're going, we will be like that rat who just goes and gets that instant thing, but later on we realize that this was not intended for us. So if you're small-minded, you will be attracted to petty things, right? So what would make us be able to discriminate? So the question here, where do you get this from? What do you need to do in order to be able to discriminate what is good and what is bad? Anybody? Shastras. So Shastra is where we will get that knowledge of what is right and what is wrong. Shastra is like our mother. So when you want to do something, you go, it's like Drew, when he wants to ask something, he will ask me, but he says, let me come forward with Mama first. And then, so it's like that. So Shastra is like our mother. So that's why it's very important to study the Shastra, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, because we will know what is right for us and what is wrong. Okay, so we talked about discrimination. Now we know that there are certain things that are good for us. Maybe in the short term, it might be some pain, but long term, it's good for us, right? So then, how do we keep focus? How do we maintain that determination? Determination means to have, so you choose, so determines you choose Krishna and say no to Maya. That's the basic understanding. Whatever is favorable to Krishna consciousness, you choose that, and whatever is unfavorable, you say no to. Right? It means prioritizing intention over emotion. So what I mean here is that sometimes emotionally we can become very enthusiastic or be inspired and do things, but that sometimes doesn't last long, because that conviction has to come from inside, from deep inside, and it has to be something that there's an intention behind it, right? So that you want to do something, versus that you just went and you got inspired and you try to do something. Right? So when we take that intention and we translate it into action, so we start doing it, then the determination is first. Right? So it's purpose-driven versus when it's short-term, depends on, somebody told you to do something or not, if you do it or either you don't do, this is purpose-driven, it's deeper, right? So there's an example of a tortoise, right? The tortoise the big one. I don't know how many have seen the big tortoise with a thick skin. The tortoise. What happens when the tortoise sees some danger? It retreats, it withdraws. And then when the tortoise feels like it's safe, it will, take out its head and legs and everything, right? So, when you are like in the temple, for example, it's like the tortoise, right? So you feel safe, you feel happy. There's kirtan, there's arati. But when you go outside, in the outside world, you have to be like that tortoise. But you have to be straining, because not everything is for our benefit, right? So, and by the way, there's a temple in India that they made it like a big tortoise with legs and everything. I think it's Mahalakshmi temple. You can Google it. But that's the kind of the idea behind it. So when we are in the temple, we have full devotion to Krishna. But when we are outside or in the everyday life, we have to be vigilant to God, our senses, and maintain our focus on what is wholesome, what is good for us. Because when you could be doing everything right, but suddenly you come into contact with some distraction, and then suddenly all the things that you're doing just goes down. So you have to be always on our guard. In the Shastra, and also the Acharyas tell us that intelligence, mind, and the senses are like the husband, the wife, and the children. So the husband, according to Shastra, is there to protect. The wife is supposed to be a chaste wife, and the children listen to the parents, right? So then it's a family, good family, is going in the right direction. So intelligence is compared as the husband. Mind is compared as the wife, and your senses are compared to the children. So when the intelligence is going in the right direction, then the mind will also follow, right? Which is, and then when intelligence and the mind are going in the right direction, the children will also follow, the senses will also follow. So through intelligence, we have to look at the right things. For example, intelligence follows the guru, right? Then mind follows the intelligence, and the senses will follow the parents, right? So think about this, always engage the intelligence in the right things. Then when you do that, then automatically the mind will be controlled, and then when the mind will be controlled, the senses will be controlled as well. There is the example in the scriptures of Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur, the Namacharya, he was always chanting. Right? So one time there was a prostitute when he was chanting, he approached him, and she was trying to allure him. Right? So then Haridas Thakur told her, I have taken this vow to chant 10 million rounds. So because you come here, once I'm done with this, then I will listen to you. Whatever you say, I will listen to you. So then he said, let me just finish this. So he's chanting, and she comes and sits and listens to him for a few days, several days. After a few days, she comes and asks, so are you done? And he goes, no, I just have a few rounds. I haven't completed. I still have to finish it, maybe tomorrow. So he continues, right? So then she comes, and by that time, she started putting water in the tulsi, taking blessing, and then she's still listening to him chanting. And at the end of the whole thing, her consciousness changes, and she surrenders to him, asking to be his spiritual master, and she becomes a devotee. Right? So that's the power of determination. Next story is, in the Shastra, there's the story of Sobri Muni. Sobri Muni was meditating in the water. So when he was meditating, he got distracted and he saw two fishes were meeting. And what happened is that he got agitated at that time. And because of that, he stopped meditating and he got married. Right? Third example I want to use is that of Sukadeva Goswami. Sukadeva Goswami, he was liberated, and he didn't wear clothes because he didn't differentiate between the body and the soul. He was that much liberated. He was walking, and his father, Vasudeva, was following him. There were some ladies who were taking shower. Even then, he did not pay attention to that, where he was going, right? And the ladies, they did not even cover themselves. But when Vasudeva was coming, they suddenly covered themselves, right? So these three personalities, all three are having similar situation where there are some provocating situations, but why did they act differently? Anybody wants to share or to say what's the reason they act differently? Determination, focus, okay. So what's happening is that each one of them is looking from a different eyesight. So Sukadeva Goswami, he was a jnani, he's looking from the jnani eyesight, right? Sobri Muni, he's looking from the avidya eyesight, so ignorance, and Haridas Thakur from the prema eyesight. So even though the last pressure was there, but because he had that prema, it did not affect him. And so it's very important to be steady in whatever we're doing. It's like a tree. When a tree is there, whether there's wind, there's a cyclone, and sometimes cyclone too, but it's there. It's just being there against all the risks of the weather. And so we talk about determination, and in that I was also mentioning about how inspiration is unreliable, right? So you could come one day, you attend a lecture, you're so inspired, you go home, and you're enthusiastic, you want to start chanting 16 rounds, right? For example. Next week you come, somebody's giving class, like today, and you say, oh, I've seen this, and you go home and you forget about it, or you say, So inspiration is unreliable, and sometimes it may lead to frustration. Rather, we have to be purpose-driven. By that I mean, what is our purpose? Is to be a servant of Krishna. When we are purpose-driven, then this brings stability and this brings meaning to life. So, inspiration also is like the gust of wind. Imagine a boat is going and the wind sometimes is pushing the boat to the east or sometimes to the west. That same boat, if it has a compass, it knows exactly where to go, right? So, inspiration is important, but purpose is even more important. So that's something to think of. The world outside, the world judges us by our results. When you go to, looking for a job or something, what's the first thing to look at? To look for your degree or qualification. It could be that you've gone to university, you attended everything, but towards the end, there was some situation that came up, and then you couldn't make it. That doesn't mean that you're not good at what you do, right? But the world, they will judge us based on the external factors. However, Lord Krishna, he will not just judge us based on external factors. He will look at our endeavor. meaning the effort that we're doing. So like I say, purpose, you are going through the whole journey. That endeavor is what Krishna would look at. And based on that, it's actually very empowering to know that Krishna is not actually looking at what is the result, right? But he's looking at the effort and the endeavor. So that's why having that purpose is very important. The example recently we celebrated, there was the Ram Mandir. So Ramayana, we have the story of the squirrel, right? That is helping to build that bridge. And it's a small endeavor, small effort, but it's meaningful. So, yeah, so there was one time there was somebody who was praying, say, my Lord, please make me win the lottery. And like, seriously, he said, please make me win the lottery. And the Lord replied, please buy a ticket first. Right? So just going and praying, no, but you have to do that effort. Right? Okay? So let's keep moving. What happens when we do all of this and we have that endeavor and we're feeling, what is the result? What is the spiritual perception of success? There's an inner fulfillment. Right? We feel happy. External gain. We want to do more service. Right? It's because it's coming from inside. Nobody is telling us. No, when we are purpose driven, you will wake up on your own because there's a much bigger goal. Right? You don't need an alarm clock to wake you up to do your sadhana, for example, because you're purpose driven. You want to do service, the selflessness, the detachment from results. You're progressing in spiritual life. And then freedom, you start to lose taste of the lower nature. And then it's not temporary, it's more long term. So sometimes we might be doing all of what we should be doing, like chanting and all that, and we don't see the results. Right? So how do we know that we are making progress? One time God told man, take this boulder, just take this big rock and push it up the hill, right? So then he tries, it's really big, so he keeps trying, pushing, nothing happens. After some time, God comes and says, what happened? And he's very depressed and says, I tried and I couldn't push it. Then he said, Lord tells him, go look at yourself in the mirror. And then he goes and looks in the mirror and he shows like big biceps. Right? So what does that mean? Is that even though we are not able to fulfill that, but yet we are, despite the lack of success, that strength is built, that inner strength that will help us. Right? So let's not just look at success. How do we enhance determination? Right? So every time we have that, we want to keep having that, to make that stronger. So there is determination is strong when our convictions are strong. Right? So convictions, the strong conviction or belief system is essential to developing determination. Determination is influenced by the intensity and clarity of one's conviction. When we are convinced, like I was saying, if you're convinced you should be waking up and chanting, you would do it without anybody pushing you or waking you up or, so you would want to do it. And conviction is driven by your association and your desires. So when we have good association, right, then that will have a significant role in shaping determination. Because when we are with like-minded people, for example, right now they're discussing about Rath Yatra and the challenges of Rath Yatra. So you will be you would want to participate, you would be willing to do what you can do to participate in that. Or you speak to devotees, they are planning to go to visit the town. You also want to go and visit one day, right? Or somebody is planning to chant Ksharans. You want to just, so association is very important. It's actually the key of having a strong determination. So anytime we feel that we are low in determination and things are going down, this means somewhere we need some association, and we need them to pull us so that we have more determination. So association, conviction, or desire, conviction, and so let's see what Bhagavad Gita has to say about determination. Do you want to read? Just a translation.
O son of
Pruta.
O son of Pruta, the determination which is unbreakable, which is sustained with steady fastness by yoga practice, and which thus control the activities of the mind. Life and sense is determination is the mode of goodness.
Okay, the next verse. Somebody else, your Mataji.
That determination by which one holds fast through the results of religious economic development and sense gratification is of the nature of national.
And then one more.
And the determination which cannot go beyond dreaming, fearfulness, lamentation, moroseness, and illusion. Such unintelligent determination, O son of Pratha, is in the mode of darkness.
So even determination, there's different levels of determination. In the chapter 18, Lord Krishna is telling us that determination also, there's determination in the mode of goodness, in the mode of passion, and in the mode of ignorance. When we are looking at the mode of goodness, somebody who persists despite difficulties and failures, irrespective of any task, right? In the mode of passion, somebody might start the task but gives up when faced with difficulties. So as soon as there is some difficulty, they will stop. And they will go into some pursuit of worldly pleasures. Ignorance, we don't even start the task. We'll do it later. We'll chant afterwards. We'll do later. Next year. When we get old, then we will do some bhakti. Right now, let's do something else. Right? So that's we have to try to always rise ourselves to go to the mode of goodness. Right? So always think about what is our duty, what do we need to do, and no matter what, we have to persist and keep doing that, even if there are difficulties. Even if it's minus 20 outside, we have to go to the temple, so we go to the temple, right? You have to wake up, do our sadhana, do what we have to do. Then, it brings us to the mode of goodness, right? And even if one fails, one should have the strength to get up and fight. So, when we look at what we have, most of the literatures out there teaches us about success. It's trying to be successful. But there's no failure, there's always learning opportunities. So if we ever fail in something, we should rise up again and try again, right? So if we're going on a certain path and suddenly something happens and we're shaky, we shouldn't be feeling lament about that or feeling worried, but we should think about, let's pick up from where I left off and then let's go again. Personally, I've also gone through a lot like this. Sometimes distracted. Right? Recently, got distracted by Twitter and all that. And then it started to become very distracting. So, but then you realize, and then you can make changes, some positive changes, and then you can continue. There is the story of Ajamil in the Shastra. Right? Ajamil was a Brahmana, and he fell. He was doing ritualistic activities, but at the end of the life, when he was going to leave his body, the Vishnu Dutta and the Yoga Dutta came, and because he had some pious activity that he did, and he was calling the name of his son, Ryan, he got a second chance. Right? There's a book called A Second Chance. So read it if you have not. It's in the boutique, and if it's not in the boutique, you can read it on database.io. A lot of times we get second chances like this. So when he got that second chance, he went to Haridwar, he started associating with saintly people, he tried to purify his life, and then eventually he reached, he got a good life, and he left his body in a good way, right? So when there is failure, we should not stop, right? When those small things happen in life, we should continue and keep focusing. That's the determination. No matter what, success or failure, we keep going. Okay? How do we, now let's talk about a few practical steps. I'll go a bit faster. So it's important. So this is the discipline part. We talked about the 3D. What is the first one? Discrimination, determination, and discipline. Discipline means doing our sadhana, daily sadhana, chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Right? That's the key when we're doing our sadhana. Some deity worship, reading scriptures. When we read scriptures, we are able to discriminate what is good versus what is not good for us. Associating with our guru, associating with our mentor. A mentor is like a guide. It is said that guru, mentor, and whoever is guiding you, they are like spiritual Wi-Fi. The closer you go to them, the stronger the connection. Right? So try to, if you can get a mentor, eventually afterwards you have to try to get a guru, then you have a better connection with me. Satsang and Bhakti Vikshas. Bhakti Viksha is where you actually grow, and there's a very close relationship among devotees, and there's discussions going on. So temple, Bhakti Viksha is just an extension of the temple. So if you've been coming to the temple and you've been here some time, try to look for a Bhakti Viksha which is in your neighborhood. Try to ask some devotees here, and then attend those Bhakti Vikshas. They are normally on Fridays. Then you will see your life will go in a much better direction. Sunday feasts, attending Sunday feasts and festivals. Performing seva, whenever we have an opportunity, we need to participate in the temple activities. There's no small or big seva. It's all the same endeavor which counts. Remember we talked about endeavor versus the goal. Maintaining a diet, a sattvic diet and lifestyle. This will bring us more into the mode of goodness. We talked about the 3 modes. So this maintaining a sattvic diet and then avoiding distractions and temptations. Okay? So I have a few minutes, so let's just recap. What did we talk about today? So we talked about determination level. There are 3 modes: the goodness, passion, and ignorance. We talked about spiritual foundation. Association desires leads to conviction, and that strengthens our determination. We talked about intention and purpose. We should prioritize purpose-driven life. Right? What is our purpose? Is to be a servant of Krishna, and we should be serving Krishna and his devotees. Right? That's the purpose. When we do that, then automatically we will have that strong determination to do this. Focusing on result versus effort. We focus on effort, not just the outcomes. spiritual success is that internal reward that counts over the external judgments. You know, when we're doing all these things, we will feel happy from inside. And what are the practical takeaways? So what can we take from today's class? So we can be more focused on our chanting, right? Study the scriptures, let's do some deity worship. We can align ourselves with the higher goals and focus on effort. We talked about that. This one, sometimes things happen, you know. There are ups and downs. There are some things that we can't do anything about it. For example, health. Sometimes you go through some health challenges, or sometimes some other challenges might come: jobs, financial issue, family, right? Those are there. Each one of us have some challenges. We went through some health challenges recently, and it does have some impact. But in that, just trust the Lord's timing. Everything happens for a reason. Embrace the challenge and trust the plan. You know? Express gratitude. In the morning, express the gratitude. I have a friend who's going through some really health issues, almost terminal, and right now he's surviving on oxygen mask, so he can't even breathe. And this is something we take for granted, right? Imagine if you can't breathe for a few seconds. It's very difficult, very painful. So be grateful. Let's be grateful every day when we wake up, and that we have a body, healthy body, we can breathe, we can do things, and then build upon that. And then service mindset. Service mindset and self-esteem, offer action to we talked about that. I'll conclude with this. Can somebody read? So this is
in simple terms, determination means making a strong commitment to stay connected with Krishna, our spiritual essence, under all circumstances. It involves maintaining this connection in every situation we encounter, even when facing challenges or temptations. We practice patience and do not waver in our devotion to Krishna, even if some of our material desires are not fulfilled.
Hare Krishna. Prabhupada ki.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Aindra Prabhu. What a fantastic way to, how would I say? What a fantastic way to convey the philosophy based on the Shastra. So it's not from something from his own manufacturing that, okay, today I'm thinking like this and I'll say like this and I'll let people. It's based on Shastra, based on the Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. So it's very solid and it's very truth. Again, if there is any questions for Prabhuji, we'll take. Okay, there's one.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you for a wonderful, motivational and enlightening class today. My question is about the example that you gave, which was you nicely explained the spiritual context, spiritual concept within the material context of intelligence, mind and senses, husband, wife and children. So my question is twofold. Basically, the first, what I want to understand is there anything that precedes intelligence? Because in order for intelligence to do something, or in order to take a route, intelligence comes into play. But is there a triggering point? And second question is, are we talking about intelligence? Is there something called spiritual intelligence versus material intelligence? Because we see a lot of people out there, like a lot of people in the crowd here, in the spiritual setting are also intelligent, and there are people who are academically very intelligent as well, like Jnana, for example. So how do that intelligence coming to picture here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. And good question, Prabhu. So intelligence means whatever ability we have, we use it, we put it into the right thing, right? So there are spiritual, there are material intelligence also. Some people are very skilled at certain things, but we've seen certain devotees who are very skilled in certain things that they've dedicated their whole life to Krishna consciousness, because they've, by reading the Shastra and associating with Guru, they've understood that there's a higher intelligence that we need to be connected to, right? So there's the intelligence on the material concept, but there's a higher intelligence. So when we are focusing on that, then everything is taken care of, right? So this is how I would explain it, right? So intelligence is how to connect that our intelligence with intelligence, high intelligence, which is Krishna, right? Or spiritual intelligence. Now, there is mind, intelligence, and then there is false ego. False ego is much bigger, because what happens, this is what separates us from the spiritual world. When you are trying you can use the right intelligence, but if you still have that false ego, it's very difficult. So that's why we have to keep practicing Krishna consciousness. And that will bring down that false ego. That I am not this body, I am a spirit soul. But until we keep associating ourselves with the body, that false ego will be there. And we cannot make progress. Right? So that's very important, is to keep working on our humility, keep practicing. Krishna consciousness is not a one-day thing, it's a lifelong journey. And the more we do, the more we get stronger. And then hopefully one day when we are living this body, we think about Krishna, and then we go back to him. I hope this helped you.
We can take one more. Anyone else? Oh, Prabhu in the front.
Can I say more on the same question you just said? Beneath there are 5 senses which are controlled. On top of that there is will, and on top of that you say is intellect, which can discriminate between what is good and what is bad. And the power like on top of that we say there's Atma, from which it receives the power. We use intellect in a correct way, not to cheat somebody, like the same power to discriminate between what is good. So like we were missing this one with Atma on top of intellect. Senses, man, intellect, and then Atma. So just wanted to say.
Okay. There's a picture in the Bhagavad Gita, right? The chariots, and then there's the mind, intelligence, and then there's Paramatma.
Yeah, Paramatma. So if you surrender everything in service of Krishna. Thank you. Oh, sorry, I got my own question. I asked today several devotees, but I need more instructions on that. Like, if I keep on chanting throughout the whole day, so what is the importance of doing mala? 16 rounds. Like if I still let's say for 24 hours, if the more conscious I am, I keep on chanting the holy name of Radharani or Krishna. So what is the importance of doing mala?
Yeah. So doing mala means you are focusing on a certain number of rounds. When we take initiation, for example, you take a vow to chant 16 rounds. You are more focused on that. So it doesn't mean that you are limited to that. You can chant more, but it regulates the mind. Because what happens, there is different levels of chanting also. when you could be driving and chanting, but is it the proper? No, it's offensive chanting, right? But still, something is better than nothing. But to get the benefits of more focused chanting, and you have to count, right, and do your prescribed number of rounds, and then you can do extra rounds, right? So as we know that when you start measuring something, it gets done, right? So for example, if you don't pay attention to your health, you don't eat anything. If you don't pay attention to certain things, when you start to count, then you can achieve a certain goal, right? So that's why that doing a mana for a certain number of rounds is important to meet that everyday goal that the vow taken, but you can do more on top of that for extra rounds, right? But that's more focused chanting than you do this.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Anyone else? One last? Anyone from Mataji? So thank you very much, Aindra Prabhu. For such a practical So again, I wanted to add my 2 signs into this: determination, right? So yeah, that's the class.